What is going on, guys? It's me here back with another first Descendant video, and for this video I wanted to give a quick update on the Hailey Gun Build. So this is the build that is focused on using your actual firearm rather than Hailey's Zenith ability, which is her unique weapon. And if you haven't seen the original guide where I talk about this build, essentially this build is very good for tankier bosses that are resistant to skill power, specifically chill skill power, so things like Frostwalker and most notably Gluttony. This build is incredibly strong for, and as they release new Colossi, if they are tanky and resistant to skill power, this is the build that you're going to want to be using on Hailey anyways, which they have said the next Colossus is going to be as strong as Gluttony, so you may want to get this one ready for that as well. Anyways, let's get into the build real quick. I'll go over the mods and then I'll be playing a showcase of using the build. It is a 2-minute 43-second Gluttony run, that is with the immunity phase, and we ended up doing 121 million damage without shooting any of the ads. All right, and here's the mods for the gun setup, and I'm just going to go through this one pretty quickly. It's pretty simple. Essentially, you're going to want to be as tanky as possible while also getting some firearm attack in there. The other thing is you're going to want cooldown for your one ability, and that is because it applies cryo stacks, and cryo stacks basically make it so each shot does 50% more damage, and every time you use this ability it applies 9 stacks. So you're going to want to be able to spam this. Then you're also going to want to be able to maintain your Cold Fury buff, which drains mana every second but gives you huge buffs to your firearm crit rate and firearm crit damage. So we're going to want cooldown reduction and skill cost reduction. So to get that tankiness, we're going to take increased HP as well as HP amplification. We are going to take this over stim accelerant because again, we want to have as much mana as possible because we are going to be using a lot of mana. And then we're just going to take increased defense for that extra defense boost. Now, as far as damage goes, we're going to be taking shot focus for that extra firearm attack. Again, this is a weapon based build, so the skill power modifier doesn't matter at all. We are not using the build to do skill power attacks. And then for this slot here, this is kind of up to you. If you want to use Walk a Tightrope, I generally find that it can be very valuable, especially in Gluttony, because typically if he hits you once, you're going to be at or close to about half of your health bar. So it can sometimes proc in that situation. Now, if you don't really want to use Walk a Tightrope, you're probably going to have this polarity slot anyways from the Zenith build or something like Dangerous Ambush, but you could slot other things here. You could slot Energy Collection. This will give you more passive mana regen to help maintain your mana during the fight, which is very good. And another fine choice here would also be Safe Recovery. This will give you 4.5% damage reduction. That is flat damage reduction, so it's very, very good. So that's also a great choice if you don't think you're going to get any value out of Walk a Tightrope. And for cooldown, we're just going to be going with our MP conversion. We do lose a little bit of mana here, but again, the cooldown is very important so that we can constantly pop our one and get those cryo stacks, and nimble fingers as well. That will give us the cooldown that we need. And then for mana preservation, we're going to be taking maximize conservation for that skill cost reduction, strong mentality as well for that skill cost reduction. Again, this will make us save a lot of mana on our Cold Fury and our cryo rounds, and then also enlightenment for some extra MP while also saving us some catalyst slots here. So you can see a lot of this isn't actually catalyzed, but we're fully modded out, so it works out pretty nicely. And then for your reactor, the big thing here is going to be the skill cooldown. As far as what type of reactor, it does not matter whatsoever. We are not using this for the skill damage. We just want these substats. So you want to get that skill cooldown roll, and then the next roll you would want is skill cost. That one isn't nearly as important, so make sure you at least get the skill cooldown roll, and then skill cost will be the next best thing. And for your components, ideally you're going to want to be running the Annihilation set with the typical rolls on this to kind of preserve your mana. So I'll go through my set real quick. You're going to want an HP roll as well as an MP recovery out of combat roll. On your power, for your sensor, you're going to want as high of a MP roll as possible, and then as good of a MP recovery and combat roll as possible. Then for your backpack, you're going to want a high defense roll, and then the next best thing is an MP recovery modifier. Now this does help with your passive mana regen a little bit, but it is not a huge amount, so not super important. Make sure you prioritize the defense roll here. And then for your processor, you're just going to want as high of a shield roll as possible. The other stuff doesn't really matter, and that is it for the components. So the way you're going to want to play this is go into the boss, pop your 3 buff, leave that on as much as you possibly can, and essentially just shoot away at the boss while popping your 1 as frequently as you can. Again, that applies 9 cryo stacks to the boss. It is a lock on. It sometimes will hit the of ads, so that can be a little bit annoying. So if that is the case, try to just get away from the ads and it'll prioritize the boss instead, and just shoot that as much as you can. If you do end up running out of mana, you're going to want to either get out of combat, so just run away and deactivate your 3, or the other option you can do is actually use Hailey's ultimate ability, her Zenith, which costs no mana at all to cast. And what you can do is use the Zenith and then shoot the boss's weak points. That will actually restore 15% of your max mana each time you hit a weak point, so you can actually get it back pretty quick that way. And then you just pop your 3 buff again and reset and go back to it. And with all that said, I'm now going to show you guys the 121 million damage Gluttony showcase that I did from yesterday to show you just how insanely powerful this build is. So I hope you guys enjoy it. That is going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Shout out to my patrons on Patreon. I appreciate y'all's support so much, as well as my Twitch subscribers and those of you supporting me through the Next on Creator program. Thank you all so much. I will leave links to all of that in the description of the video. If you did enjoy this content and you aren't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. If not, no worries at all there. I appreciate you watching. And that's going to do it for this one, guys. I will catch you in the next one.